So I'm deep into research, and I'm going to give you a quote. And this was said by the great late Customato. Mickey Duff is the greatest matchmaker of all time. So that is a huge accolade. It's a huge, monstrous compliment from quite possibly one of the greatest trainers of all time. Do you know it's not commonly known, but did you know Mickey Duff matchmake the first 20 opponents for Mike Tyson? And so the greatest upset in boxing history was when James Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson in February 1990. And before the fight, Mickey Duff said, but basically, so Frank Bruno was going to fight James Buster Douglas in 1987, I think it was. And Mickey Duff said, no, we're going to avoid that one. It's all wrong for Bruno. I think in the end, he fought James Bone Crusher Smith and got flattened. But by that point, Duff had stopped matchmaking for Tyson. Obviously, Customato had died. I'm not sure whether not Bill Jacobs. So there's Bill Kate, and I think he was still alive, but Jim Jacobs had died. So obviously Mickey Duff kind of drifted away. And he basically said, obviously, I mean, James Buster Douglas was quite a mover. He was obviously became world champion, but the guy could box, and I mean, he lost the title in the first defence. Looked awful against Evander Holyfield, and then ate himself into a coma. But that's true. As I said, Mickey Duff matchmaked 20 of the first 20 fights of Tyson, and he basically made Bruno avoid James Buster Douglas. And when Tyson fought him, the bookies had him at 42 to 1, and he said if I was Tyson, I wouldn't take the fight. And of course, look what happened. But I'm just typing Brad Jacobs up. So Brad Jacobs is the CEO of Top Rank. I don't know, is it kind of works out as Bob Arum's partner, and Guy is a big cheese in America, and he said, I'm just literally typing it now, he said, one of the greatest minds in boxing history. I would go along with that as well. Without a shadow of a doubt, as I said, and many people have told me, the biggest influence British boxing has ever known. But yeah, that's not commonly known, that, but he had a lot to do with the young Mike Tyson's matchmaking, which is very important. And he didn't always get it right. You know, he made Gary Mason against Lennox Lewis. At the time, Gary Mason was 35-0, third in the world, and Kelly Maloney said to me, he said, when he made that fight, I knew he was losing it. One thing about Mickey was for all he knew about boxing, he loved his fighters, and he didn't look at it as smart. Taking a fight as crackers. Yes, he was unbeaten, but Lennox Lewis had won Olympic gold. And when you look at Gary Mason, he'd not even won a a London division title. So yeah, Frank Maloney's, he said, I knew Lewis was going to outbox Gary Mason. And Mickey Duff's stance on it was Gary Mason's going to retire. Lewis, and Frank Maloney will pick his P45 up, was his exact words. And what turned out was, I think Gary Mason did fight once or twice, but ultimately that's what really ended Gary Mason's career. I think he was stopped in about 7 rounds, and of course he had a detached retina, which wasn't helped being put in with Lennox Lewis. But yeah, Frank Maloney said, I knew that. I knew he was on the slide when he made that fight in 1991. But yeah, Mickey Duff, hugely instrumental in the career of Iron Mike Tyson.